Now this is step 6, so this is the first place that I encounter one of the errata, the revision that was added in, the most recent revision that was added into the kit, the second one. Previously they used these just straight pins as inboard lower suspension pins, and those aren't going to be used anymore, so I'm going to put those aside. Instead they have switched to these captured units. So I'm going to, looks like all of those are the same length, so I'm going to take a couple of those, ready them, and I'm now following not the manual but the instructions in the little insert. Now these little bushings, plastic bushings, get inserted into the braces, and they are different. You've got some bushings that have the holes centered and some of them that have the holes more towards one edge. So you've got to be really careful about that. Make sure that you're using the right ones at the right end. Again, with the self-tapping screws, that screw actually connects both halves of the diff housing. That's why it's so long. But you do want to go a little bit slow with that guy, because it will build up a lot of heat as it goes in, tapping itself through this high fiber, relatively brittle plastic. Okay, with that on, this is going to get placed like so. This rear block uses the bushings that are offset, and it actually puts the holes down lower, so you end up getting a little bit of kick up in front from those. All right, making sure all the bushings are in their places, I go ahead and carefully put the arms in there, make sure the dog bones are seated, and then the pins are going to go through the screw pins. Those get locked in place with 3mm lock nuts on the other side. So even though they are sort of like screw pins, they're just bolts. So the thread actually goes all the way through and exposes itself at the end, and those are never going anywhere until I want them to. Because they use nylock nuts, you do not need to put much pressure on these. You don't need to tighten them down very much. You just need to make sure that they move in, that the nuts move deep into the thread up close, but you don't want to actually lock this down like it's a vise. The nylon ring will do its job. There we go. So just a little bit of looseness in there is actually a good thing. There we go, good. Now these two little short self-tapping screws are not used thanks to the revised design, so be sure to toss those aside so they don't confuse you at all. Now it's time to make my first camber links. They give you the turnbuckles here, but to find the ball ends, or the link ends, go to plastic bag number 3. Has the magic pieces we need this time. Here we go. And there's a revolver. Nice. Now, the little balls themselves, the little inserts that you need to put into these captured ends, those are in plastic bag 2, just so you know. They're in this whole row here that kind of looks like an abacus. So they got you going and dipping in all of the bags at various times. It's really, really no organization to these bags as far as I can see, and that's just unfortunate. Another unfortunate thing is that while this inner guy gets a nice little machine threaded screw and a lock nut to back it on the other side, you know, that's nice and secure. That's a good thing. But I was hoping to get this in there quickly. Come on. Messing with my flow here. This outer one uses a self-tapping screw. Weak. All right, just like that, I've got a large portion of the front assembly taken care of, so I get to put that aside and now work on the rear.